Hello, today I thought I'd share my bomb build with you guys for the Greymoor expansion. I've just had too much fun playing it, especially in Mid-Year-Mayhem, you know, getting so much AP, so many bombs, and the bombs just keep getting bigger as the event goes on, so I just thought I'd share it with you guys so you guys could maybe make one yourselves, and you can not just take my word for it, you can try it out yourself. So let's get right into the stat sheet. So right off the bat we've got 34k max magicka with a 1500 recovery, so we're hardly lacking on the sustain side of things. We very rarely run out of magicka, mainly due to the food that we run, Ghastly Eyeball. This is too good not to use really for this build. I think that it's possibly the best food for this build, just based on the recovery and max magicka it gives you. We run the Shadow Mundus to just give us that massive crit damage pool. Obviously coming out sneak, guaranteed crit damage. You know, we need to run this basically. Like, this will just do so much damage, paired with the other critical damage buffs that we have. Stage 4 Vampire, the regular ability cost does sort of suck, but as I said before, we don't really feel it that much. We rarely run out of magicka, so this doesn't really affect us that much, to be honest. We just use Vampire Stage 4 for the passive, the Stage 4 passive that it gives us. We've got an alliance buff for something. As for our sets, show me a bomb build that doesn't run this set. You know, it's just possibly impossible to get those huge bombs without this. It's just too good to pass up. Obviously we're running both swords with sharpened oblivion damage glyphs. This patch, it seems to be like 95% of the server is running on a sorcerer at the moment. I don't know why, but if you're not a sorcerer, you're also wearing a damage shield, so this just helps cut through all of that and helps us finish off those enemies as well. You could run a double dot poison instead of this glyph if you really wanted to. I did last patch, but this patch I've had so much more success running it with this. I've tried it with the poisons and it's just not really worked out as well. Black Rose Prison Restoration Staff, just purely for the survivability of it. It's really strong. Obviously I know it's only 2 seconds, but you know, you can get 2 heals out of that and you're back up to full health, you know. You could instead, really, if you don't have this, run Potentate's back bar. The restos are really cheap. You could go for something with a 2-piece mag recovery, just to help out your sustain a little bit. We've gone for defending, being as this is on our back bar, we need a little bit more tankiness. We want to sort of survive to get to be able to bomb. Absorb magicka glyph, because we need to build up our ult to 500, and once we've bombed someone and we need to rebuild that, we can just go and light attack go sneak, you know, just troll the enemies a little bit, and that's also a bit fun as well. So this just helps keep the magicka up, because you're going to be cloaking, using speed buff to sort of evade them so you don't die. Balog monster set, it's had a few changes this patch. With the it's half the spell damage and weapon damage that it used to give you, but now it's also giving you 23 times the amount of ultimate you use. So in my opinion, for this sort of build, it actually got a buff. It's really strong for the bomb builds. The set that we're pairing Vicious Death with will be New Moon Acolyte. It's just too good to pass up, you know. Gives you a butt ton of damage, butt ton of penetration. It's not to love, you know. There's not really many PvP builds out there now that aren't running this. I use this on my Gank Blade, I use this on my 1vx character, you know, so it's just so versatile, and you can just use it on pretty much any character really. If you want to run something different and you don't like the increased 5% for your abilities, you could run Mechanical Acuity. It gives you a lot of damage, but it also guarantees critical strikes. Once you do your bomb, you do your sap essence, they're all going to be critical strikes, so it's going to hurt a little bit more as well. But I've had more success with this, and I prefer this over Mechanical Acuity, so we're going to stick with this, and this is working absolutely fine. We run all Magicka, all Divines on the body. Haven't really golded out any New Moon at the moment because I've just put it on like 2 days ago. Vicious Death, we'll run it all three infused jewellery with spell damage and chance, just to beef up that spell damage a little bit and make them bombs a little bit more potent. So for the food, we can use Fishbowl if you like spending a lot of money. It's just a flat resource buff really. You could go with Clockwork Citrus. It gives you a little bit of recovery. This is if you run Ghastly Eyeball and you feel like you need a little bit more health, you can just whack this on. Corrupting Bloody Mara, personally I just use this to stay on stage 4. I don't actually use this food. I prefer Ghastly Eyeball over anything else. Obviously if you don't want to run any of them and you still want a bit of Magicka recovery and health and Magicka, just go with Witch Mothers, Alliance Spell Drought, cheap as chips and gives you a little spell damage buff. So this is what I pop just before I go in for a bomb. Sneaky Night Blades, you can detect them. Tri-stat, it's just great for getting away from a big group of enemies that have just found you, like whilst you're trying to build out, or get away from a bomb. So the Essence of Health trash pots and the Essence of Stamina trash pots, these are what I use to build up my ult when there's not really enemies around, I'm not quite at 500, and I want to just pop a potion to give me more ultimate basically. Immovability, this could be very nice. So if there's a huge stack of enemies that you want to take down and bomb, and they've got all their AoEs at their feet and you don't want to get stunned, waste your ult, or proxy deck goes off, your ult doesn't, just pop this, run in, good to go. Skills, obviously using channeled acceleration for the speed buff and the minor force for the 10% extra critical damage. Concealed weapon, both bars, just so that we can move around a lot faster and we don't get caught. Combat prayer gives us minor berserk and a little resistance buff. This is great. You pop this just before you go in for a bomb. Ward ally, you know, obviously we're using the resto. If you don't use the resto, you can go for shadowy disguise just so you get a quick easy getaway. Shadow image, sorry, my bad. Shadowy disguise, obviously we use this so that we don't get caught out of sneak, you know, so we don't have to like crouch walk all the way into a bomb, and it guarantees a critical strike after. So when we go to use our soul tether for our bomb, it's a critical strike. So with the critical damage buffs that we've got at the moment, and the penetration and the spell damage and the guaranteed critical from this soul tether is, I've had enemies literally die from just this ult. It's insane. Proxy det, obviously you need to run this on a Bomblade because it's just too good to pass up. 25% extra damage per enemy inside the radius. I mean, it's just gonna shred through everything, you know. Concealed weapon, obviously, for the speed. Sap essence is what we will use after we've done our bomb, and we need to clean up the flag a little bit, just in case, you know, there's a lot of tanks out there, so we can just clean them up with this, and they'll be dead as well. Lotus fan debuffs the enemy, increasing their damage taken by 8%, but mainly we had to use this as a gap closer to get to a bomb that we like can't reach. So say you're trying to bomb a resource, they're all running inside the tower, you know, fighting whoever, like your friendlies that are in the tower. So you have to go elsewhere to set up your bomb, and it's a little bit farther out of reach. Your proxy det's going to go off before you hit the bomb, get to bomb them. So pop this, jump in there, then use your bomb, and good to go. Let's get into champion points. 72 into Elfborn just gives us a butt ton of critical damage. It's very potent. Elemental expert just to beef up them tooltips and get a little bit more damage. Spell penetration, with this build we actually have managed to hit 22,558 spell penetration. Yes, I did add it up. It is a lot, so it's just going to absolutely shred through everything. That paired with a 72% critical damage from this and all of our previous buffs like channeled acceleration, racial passives, and what have you. 66 master at arms, so this will buff up our sap essences and our soul tether. They're both direct damage. That is going to hurt anyone standing anywhere near another person. The proxy det is also direct damage, so it's just insane amount of damage coming through this build. We don't use anything in this tree. The red CP is really up to preference, but I've found that this is possibly the best survivability that I've ever had with this build, with this setup. 81 ironclad just to reduce direct damage, because a lot of people are pumping 81 into master at arms, or you get some people popping up 100 into it. You know, it's just insane. So you want to mitigate that as much as possible. 30 critical resist just to buff that up a little bit. Obviously we get a flat base critical resistance now with the Greymoor patch, so Spell resistance gets a little bit with 12 in it, same as light armor. 23 thick skinned, 56 hardy and elemental defender. We don't use anything in this tree. If you're running with a friend, you could probably slot a few points into here. If you're bombing with a friend and they use combat prayer, they can heal you for a bit more, but this is my preferred optimal setup, really. But as I said, the red CP is completely up to you how you want to dish them out. 69 sprinter, so when we are sprinting as a stage 4 vampire, after 3 seconds we will enter sneak, so we can actually just carry on sprinting and you're automatically invisible. You know, so if you're, God forbid, out of magicka, you got a lot more stamina, just try kite and while sprinting, and you'll eventually enter sneak. Invisibility with this, so we just reduce the cost of that. Arcanist and tenacity, you know, just to beef up the magicka recovery. And when we're building ultimate, we're gonna like heavy attack, light attack. So when we heavy attack, we can restore more magicka, so we can hide for longer. Sneak, obviously, because you don't want to be seen, and when you're running around in cloak, you're also going to be sneaking. The movement passive we get from the vampire will make us go faster. The concealed weapon will make us go faster. The channeled acceleration will make us go faster. So we have no issues with speed. We just want to reduce the cost of sneak and sprinting. I'll show you a little rotation that I use with my setup. So first, enter sneak, hit channel acceleration, proxy, combat, then your ward ally or shade, sneak, and then go out and bomb. I have had a lot of fun with this, and we just hit too hard this patch. As I said before, with the penetration, you know, 22k, 72% extra critical damage. It's just well rounded in all sides of damage output. There's also another cheese setup, but I don't usually like using it because if they've put AoEs on the floor, you more than likely will die. But I'm going to show you anyway, just in case that's what you want to do. So it'll be channeled acceleration, proxy that, combat prayer, shimmering frenzy, and then go in for your bomb, and then it'll go off. But as you can see, your health gets very low the longer it gets used, so I really don't like using it myself. Well, I think that's it for today's build video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and hopefully you decide to make one yourself. I highly recommend it. It is super fun. I'll put a few clips in this video just so that you can sort of see what it's all about. I will also be having a montage coming out soon. I've got a lot of clips I need to edit and put together and all that good stuff. But if you'd like to see that and you're not yet subscribed, please do so. You know, it costs you nothing, it means the world to me. So hopefully catch you in the next video, guys. See you in a bit. Bye.